Hi. Welcome to the future.
Well, it's nice to meet you all. There's sodas in the fridge.
Here's a side-by-side comparison of exactly what we're doing. You have your stock Maverick steering wheel. This is out of an XL, but it's a 23, so it does have cruise control on it. And we are going to step up to, this is a late model Fiesta ST purchased from Europe because they stopped selling these in the US. They came out with the ST line for a little while. They're not really an actual ST, they just have the cosmetic features on them. But you can see fully leather padded, perforated leather on the sides. This one even actually has blue stitching. You can get, you can swap out if you want to say ST or not. I like that because I used to actually have a Fiesta ST, so I'm good with that. Being in Europe too, see this LIM here? This is actually a limiter, so you can set a governor on your car and it'll only be able to go that fast. It won't be able to go over. And, we don't have that feature in the US. We don't really, I mean, so a lot of people could use it to help themselves from getting tickets, but we just have the one big one here that turns on our cruise control. But over there, they have that. And, the reason being, I guess, what I'd say is that there's so many speed cameras over there. There's just, you're just going to get a ticket mailed to you every time. So why not just set the limit so you're not going to have a problem? I have a hybrid Maverick. They're the best. I'm going to go in and unhook the battery. Normally I would just do the negative, but this one is a lot more to deal with the cover and everything on it. So just going to loosen up that for the positive. Pull that off. And like I said, this being a hybrid, the battery is in the back underneath the rear seat. So I just flip that up and then you can get right to the positive there and take it off with a 10mm. First thing I'd recommend you doing is pulling down your adjustment lever for your steering wheel. If it's not all the way out, pull it all the way out and down probably, and then lock it back in. It's going to give you the most room to work with. You want to turn your steering wheel all the way to the side. So what you're doing here is right inside there is the tabs that are going to release your airbag. Let's see if I can get that in there, but I'm using a flathead screwdriver about this long or a little shorter would be nice, because the problem is you're going to be getting in there and it's going to be contacting your instrument cluster, which you don't want. So I'm going to put that in like that and then push it down, and then you're going to release that side of your airbag. And then you're going to crank your wheel all the way around so you can do the other side. There's just those two. All right, I have the wheel cranked around. We're going to see if we can get in here and get our other side. Okay. I think we might have it out, as long as we didn't click the other side back in. Nope. Okay, and it's coming out. So I'm going to go ahead now and straighten the steering wheel back up. All right, we're on the back side of the steering wheel now. At least you are. You have three things to unhook here. I believe this white one is your horn button. So we can undo these things to get our airbag freed up. So we're just going to push down that tab in the middle. And that one's really easy. Now on these airbag ones, there is an orange thing in the middle here. This orange deal in the middle on both of these is going to pull up. The first one wasn't too difficult, but on this one I'm going to see if I can get just the edge of the screwdriver under there. There we go. Just be gentle with it. You do not want to mess up one of these things because it's not going to be cheap. And then just pull straight out. And there's your airbag. All right, now we're going to remove the steering wheel. You want to make sure you have this centered up before you remove it. That way you know when you put the other steering wheel on, it's going to be, you're going to put it on just perfectly straight too. That way everything will be aligned. I have a 1/2-inch ratchet here with a 24mm socket and an extension, so you're going to be able to clear everything. So let's see. I'm curious just to see if this is actually going to come off without having to use an impact or anything. And it did. Nice. That is excellent. So no reason to have any power tools. I'm going to go also in here. There is one more clip here with the wiring. Let's see if I can get you guys in here and show you that. Yep. So the other clip in here, you're just going to press down this tab. And it just comes right out just by pressing on that tab right there. All right, we're going to finish up the rest of this bolt. I'm just going to use the socket here. It's fairly loose right now, but not loose enough to do by hand. So I'm going to pull the rest of the bolt out using the extension and socket. There we go. So there's actually a washer in the back of that bolt, but it looks like permanently affixed. All right, set that down below. It does have a little bit of thread locker on it. I think that's going to be sufficient. I'm not going to actually put any more on it. All right, now when you're removing this, you're going to get your wires sorted here, and you're going to feed those airbag wires back out through the hole. So those are going to come right through there, and they're going to stay right here. And obviously, when you put the steering wheel back on, you want to make sure this stuff, your clock spring, I believe here, is going to be exactly lined up still too. And this has just a few sides on it, so when you put the steering wheel on, it'll be straight. Like I said, this will be straight when you take it off. So pretty hard to, there's not even that, small of increments here. This is basically just a big hex. So good to know. Should make it easy when we put it back on. All right, let's go and swap out the switches. So what we need to do is we're going to swap the switches on both sides and the wiring just to make sure everything matches up and we won't have any problems at all. So let's get to it. We're going to pull off the fascia on these. All right, we want to disconnect the wire harnesses in here. These are the ones going to the switches. You can see right here, it's kind of hard to make out, but there is just a little tab you're going to push in, and then you'll be able to pull that out. That one's easier to see than this other one. This other one's black on the other side here, so same deal though. We're going to reach in there, pull that tab up, and then release that. Okay, now we're going to pull the fascia off. All right, recommend going slow here. This is a 2-piece deal down here, but I think our goal is going to be to try and pull this off together with the lower piece. Take your fingers here, put them in here. You can only go as far as where the switch is, and then you can put your thumb out here, and you're just going to be pulling up, pressing down with your thumb. All right, we got that up a little bit there. And we're going to do the same for the other side. Okay, got that up a little bit. Okay, once you have both of the sides popped out, I'm kind of working ahead to make sure I can tell you guys how to best do this. Once you have the sides popped out, you can see in the front, this is actually just rubber where these clips are, so you can still just pull that up and it will squeeze past the rubber. Okay. Now we have front up and both sides out. And we're going to go around here and we want to try and pull this whole thing up together. Trying to keep the silver part with the black part. It's just that trim. Hopefully I can try and stay out of my own way here with the camera. Alright. So we have that up. And we have the silver coming up here. Now, this part down here, there's actually a couple pins that go in. So once you have everything kind of coming up, straight up, you want to go toward the bottom of the steering wheel to get these two pins out. And just make sure when you're pulling up, you're going to pull up on the silver also. Inside here, you can see the silver pins. I guess for lack of better words, pins. Alright. Alright, now we have the whole top completely free. So this is all out. Fully out. And we're gonna go toward the bottom of the steering wheel. Just take your time. Again, you want to keep this all together. Otherwise, you're going to end up breaking where it holds the silver and the black together. Okay, we're getting there slowly. There it goes. Okay. And there's those pins I was talking about. And that's what was keeping us in there. So everything else is straight up and down. And then those pins are basically kind of angled in there. So, all right, we have this all out, and we'll go to the next step here. You're going to do that on both steering wheels, obviously. All right, this steering wheel was a little different. Our new ST steering wheel, everything just kind of popped straight up. It was actually a little bit easier to get off than the other one. Let's do a little better of a zoom here. So everything just popped straight up. It actually popped out a little easier. So that's good news. Now, all right, now we're down to our switches and our wires. So let's take care of the switches. Out of all the tools I have, which is a lot, I did not have a T8 Torx. So T8 Torx, if you go to Lowe's or any place like that, they're not going to have them. Trust me, they have down to about a T10. What you need is a T8. So I'll link to a little small set, what I can find. And what you have is these two screws here on each side. And we're going to undo those. And then there's a couple other little catches to undo. And then we'll just take the switches out and swap them. And then we have the wiring to do after that. Alright, got that out of there. Now on the outside here, looks like we have two. Yep, you just pull those tabs right there back. I get that to focus, those tabs right there, and then your switch is going to come out. So remove the two Torx, and then the tabs, pull it out. Alright, we have our switches out of both. Now we're going to take our ones from the Maverick and put them in the new wheel. Fascia, I should say. And this is just like they came out. Just place them right in there and they're going to just snap in. And then after that, go ahead and reinstall your screws. And then we're going to actually do the wiring. So swap all this out, finish it up with the screws, and then we're going to do the wiring on the wheels first before we put these back in. Alright, now this is going to be really simple. We're just going to remove all of the wiring from this wheel and move it over to the other one. That way, you know, some of this might work, some of it might not. If you just swap all the wiring, then you're going to alleviate that as a possible problem. So this inside part of the wheel here is rubber, so this stuff actually bends. Let me get it closer here. And so you're just going to pull that out and just slowly pull the wiring out. And just get your other side. Just be real careful. You don't want to break the wires or tug them too hard or anything, but there. Wiring's out. Now do the same thing on the other wheel, and you're going to swap them. Now I would take this and just set it down so you know the orientation and everything. You're not going to get mixed up. And you don't need to put the other wires in the wheel. I plan on actually, if I ever sell this truck, I'm going to swap the wheel back in, and I'll be able to sell that Fiesta ST wheel and recoup a little bit of money, because odds are whoever buys my Maverick is not going to care. So take that out of there, and now we're going to put this Maverick wiring in our new wheel. So let me show you how I'm going to put this in here. Some of the, like the part right here, you'll be able to just pull that rubber back and get your wires to lay in there. And you can see they're all basically how it's going to lay in there. It'll fall into place if you kind of just put it in there. You'll see how it was in the other one because the wires are all formed. So I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver, put that down in here first. This is kind of difficult to do with the camera here, but you're going to pull back that wire or the rubber, and then push your wiring down in there. And just be real careful when you're using the screwdriver that you're not going to actually get a hold of your wiring. Make sure you put it under the wiring. Okay. Just like that, not too bad. Just take your time. So on this side, I'll spin it around, see if I can get you a good look in here. That falls in there pretty nice. Alright, and then down here, again, we want to pull this back. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do this with without a third hand. Nope. But you get the idea. Okay, now we're all set. Just double check you have everything down in the channels where it all should be. You don't want to have your airbag or anything when you put it in here being in contact with any of that. Alright, now let's put the fascia back on. I'll just let you go through that with me for the first time. So we'll line up this our bottom here. Like I said, this one kind of came out more so just straight up. And we want to make sure we have everything kind of lining up. You'll see this top part wants to kind of curve up, but as you're putting this in here, get a little more light. Right here you'll see this is going to go into this notch. And there's like a pin here. It's going to go into that hole. So just as you're pushing it down, kind of make sure that things are falling into place. And then the top, you're going to need to push that down, because all these tabs in here need to fall into their place too. And this one's just much more friendly than the other Maverick wheel. All right. Okay, now we're going to plug in our sides. Okay. Get your other side. And you want that tab on the bottom. This wire kind of twisted around in here, so it wants to line up turned over. Alright, there we go. Click. Alright, we're ready to go back in the car now. Okay, we're going to get the wheel in position. Make sure this stays straight. And you're going to take these and you're going to feed them through the top hole here in the wheel. Just like they came out. Keep that straight. You're going to see there's the two little pins here from that clock spring that are going to go in there. So then you can use your finger behind there to turn it a little bit if you need to line it up. All right, we are in. Okay, so first things first, let's take your black connector here from your wiring that we just swapped over. Go ahead and plug that in. It's going to go into the clock spring. Now we want to take our airbag, scratch that. Now we want to put on our steering wheel bolt. Get that started by hand. Screw it in as much as you can. Let's get our socket and extension. And snug this up a decent amount. Don't go crazy, because if you've got a big 1/2-inch ratchet, that actually applies quite a bit of torque. And if you remember, this didn't come out of there with a ton of torque, but you definitely want to get it nice and tight. Okay, now we are going to move on to the airbag. And same deal, you're going to take these 3 things and just push them in. You have your clips right here for the airbag, and then you have your horn up here. I'm going to go ahead and do the airbags first, since I feel like the horn's going to be easy. And these you're just going to push down all the way, and then push the orange tab in. So first push the clip down on the airbag all the way, then push your orange tab in. That makes it so they're locked in. And now you're going to want to twist this down a little bit, the airbag, so you can get your horn in there. And there we go. Now just make sure and take one little look down in there. If there's nothing in the way, that your wiring stuff is going to stay out of the way, because you're going to have your 4 pins on the back of this. You'll see that they stick out, and they're going to fall into a spot inside there. And then just push it in until you hear a click on both sides, is what I heard. And you're good. We are finished. Let's take a look at the final product here. All right, you'll figure out real quick if you didn't go ahead and connect your battery back, so make sure you do that. But here's the finished product. This thing looks great. I mean, it matches perfect. Everything looks like it would be OEM. And now we've got a really comfortable padded steering wheel with some blue stitching, a little more sporty feel, and you've got a flat bottom. So if you've got a problem getting in and out of here with clearance, you got those thunder thighs or whatnot, this will help. So hope this helps everybody out, and check out some other videos. I put them up as I can. I have some Bronco content, I have some Maverick content, and I'm doing some stuff on my ProMaster camper van build. So in the description below, I will post links to different parts that you can use, that you would need, and I'll put in the username of the eBay seller that I got this from.